But very importantly, and I said it, Ukraine, ceasefire. Ukraine, ceasefire. Just agreed to a little while ago. Now we have to go to Russia and hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. We can get this horrible war where 2,000-3,000 soldiers a week, every week, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 sometimes. I get the reports. And they're not American soldiers, they're Ukrainian and they're Russian. But people are being killed outside of that. People are being killed in the cities as things explode throughout the cities. And we want to get that war over with. So I think it's a very big, I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and this. So that's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on and people are going to get killed, lots of people.
Is Zelensky invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
Mr. President, will you talk to Vladimir Putin about this ceasefire deal? Do you think you need to have a conversation with him to get the Russians to agree?
I'll talk to Vladimir Putin, yeah.
When will
I
you
want to
talk
get,
to him?
look, that's the other, it takes two to tango, as they say, right? So hopefully he'll also agree, and I really think that would be 75% of the way. The rest is getting it documented and, you know, negotiating land positions, etc.
So you'll talk to him this week about the deal?
I think so, yeah.
So
And when do you
have the
anticipate meeting him in
ceasefire
person?
in place on the Ukrainian side. How close do you think then you are to a total ceasefire with
Well, I hope it'll be over the next few days. I'd like to see. I know we have a big meeting with Russia tomorrow, and some great conversations hopefully will ensue. The people have done a great job. Marco Rubio's been great. Steve Witkoff's been great. Michael Waltz. They're all, every one of them, they've really stepped up. They are into it. They want to see two things. By far, number one is death of people that aren't citizens of our country, but they're people, just like you. They're people, and we want to stop. And we also don't want to give billions and hundreds of billions of dollars away. We're in there for $350 billion. And there was no reason this war would have never happened if I was president. So it's a very sad thing. Thank you all very much. I love Tesla.
Today we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation.
As a result of that, and I think as a result of this positive step forward, the president has decided to lift the pause on aid and on our security assistance to Ukraine going forward. And that's effective immediately.
We're going to tell them this is what's on the table. Ukraine is ready to stop shooting and start talking. And now it'll be up to them to say yes or no. I hope they're going to say yes. And if they do, then I think we made great progress. If they say no, then we'll unfortunately know what the impediment is to peace here.
Look, I think that the expectation of Russia, it's not just from Ukraine. I think from today's this joint statement, this expectation of the world, Russia needs to say very clearly, they want peace or not. They want end this war, which they started or not. And this is today the position of Ukraine was absolutely clear. It's absolutely understandable. And now it's important that the people in the world will understand, because this war, it's created the many crises. And this is make the influence to all the world. And you know, it's important that all the people in the world will understand who want peace. Today, Ukraine, once again, how we demonstrated all these 3 years, how we're fighting for our independence, our freedom. Today, we demonstrated to all the world that we want a peace. We are ready to peace, for just and lasting peace. This is very important. I think it's a really important day because, you know, 3 years is a long period of time. And for the people in the world, it's necessary once again to understand. Not Ukraine started this war, but Ukraine ready for just and lasting peace.
І сьогодні в розмові була пропозиція саме американської сторони зробити перший крок одразу далі і на 30 днів спробувати встановити повне припинення вогню. Не тільки щодо ракет, дронів і бомб, не тільки у Чорному морі, а також по всій лінії фронту. Україна сприймає цю пропозицію. Ми вважаємо це позитивним. Ми готові зробити такий крок. Американська сторона розуміє наші аргументи, сприймає наші пропозиції. І я хочу подякувати президенту Трампу за конструктивність розмови наших команд.
A make-or-break summit today in Saudi Arabia between Ukraine and the United States has ended, and there are a couple of pretty major decisions coming out of this. The first is that the United States is saying that it will resume sharing intelligence with Ukraine as well as sending military aid. This is a big change from what we saw last month with that Oval Office blow-up between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, President Donald Trump, and Vice President J.D. Vance getting into a major argument in the Oval Office. Secondly, we did see the United States and Ukraine both pitch the idea of a 30-day ceasefire to halt Russia's war in that country. Now, it depends a lot on what Moscow is going to say. So far, Russian President Vladimir Putin has not offered any concessions. The Ukrainians are still holding a piece of Russia right now, the area of Kursk, and Russia is still holding large chunks of eastern Ukraine. Another wrinkle in this is the fact that Ukraine launched its biggest ever drone attack on Russia just before these talks started today. That saw some 300 drones, some going towards Moscow. At least 3 people were killed and others were wounded in that attack. So while the intelligence sharing and the military aid returning to Ukraine is major for Kyiv, the real question remains just how Putin and the rest of the Russian government is going to react to the ceasefire and whether the guns could stop firing in this bloody conflict.